Hey y'all, welcome to the Cowboy Clowder. This is a little clangen save file that I've been experimenting with, and I wanted to do a little sort of art lock challenge for it, and I figured why not record it and post it. Let's not waste any time, we'll jump right in. First things first, there is no Star Clan guide per se for Cowboy Clowder. Instead, we'll be following the Flame Sprite. The Flame Sprite's name is Rud's Soul, and they're just a fire spirit that has been trapped in the speaker's lamp. They consume the bodies of cats who perish, and in doing so, release their souls to continue their journey. Rud's Soul's ultimate wish is to escape the lamp, but he's basically made a deal with the Cowboy Clowder to protect their dead, in exchange for the semi-amount of freedom that he gets. Laurel Star is the Speaker of Flames of the Cowboy Clowder, meaning that she's the leader of the group and custodian of the Speaker's Lamp, which contains the flame sprite that protects their clowder. Laurel Star has been Speaker for a long time now, and while she takes that responsibility seriously, she's a bit impish and tends to do whatever she wants. Rules are more like suggestions for her, and she loves giving her spark bearer, Auburn Kick, mini heart attacks. This year, Laurel Star's focus was on growing the Clowder's numbers, so she invited in many outsiders that we'll discuss later, much to Auburn Kick's chagrin. Other than that, the old gal didn't really get up to much. Auburn Kick is the spark bearer of the Clowder, meaning that she's chiefly responsible for the Cowboy's border policy and upholding Laurel Star's orders. Spark bearers also serve on the Cowboy Council, along with head herbalist and head archivist, serving to check the speaker's decision-making and ensure that choices are made for the betterment of the Clowder. She knows that one day, when Laurel Star either passes or retires, she'll be responsible for the speaker's lamp, and that thought makes her extremely uptight. She often worries that she'll not be up to the job, and fears that she'll prove herself a coward when the time comes to step up. Though most of the Clowder agree that she is a bit overwhelmed, they know that she's fiercely loyal to all of her Clowder mates, and would defend them if it came to that. Auburn Kick has extremely high expectations of her kit, Ochre, which causes some tension between the two of them. Nightheart is the Cowboy's only herbalist. Thon's mentor, Shinespire, passed last year, leaving them to run the herbalist den alone and to begin serving on the Cowboy Council. Not that they aren't prepared, per se, but, well, Nightheart wouldn't say that they're the strongest cat in the world. Desperately not wanting to be alone, Nightheart set about looking for a partner in earnest this year, and, as it turns out, they're a bit of a player. 3 cats were interested in them this year, and one of them actually became their mate. I think they would be interested in making it a poly relationship if they got the chance. Laurel Star was one of these cats, though as at the end of winter, they're not together. Nightheart wants their Clowdermates to know that they are safe with them, and can often be seen supporting and uplifting others. The last and youngest member of the Cowboy Council is Prance, the head archivist of the Clowder. Archivists are responsible for recording and remembering the history of the Clowder and of the surrounding areas, usually through a rich oral tradition. Most cats probably would prefer Prance not serve on the council, due to their sometimes baffling mannerisms, but they've never caused any trouble, so, well, they continue to serve. This year, Prance found an old rain stick, one that their mentor Pepper-Ear had told them was lost for many seasons. They were so thrilled that they dragged it immediately back to camp, but the other cats didn't seem to understand or care about its historical importance. Auburn Kick even yelled at them to move it after she tripped over it. Despite their oddness, Prance is friendly with most of their Clowdermates, enjoying a long chat whenever and with whomever they can. Cactus Bloom is the most senior working cat of the Cowboys, only Laurel Star and Shrub Flick are older than him. But age has hardly diminished his charisma. He enjoys being flirtatious with other members of the Clowder, despite never having taken a mate or even seeming interested in doing so. At the beginning of the year, he was the Clowder's only rabbit herd, an incredibly important position that, in his opinion, doesn't get nearly enough recognition. He's responsible for maintaining the rabbit population and is very knowledgeable about how to keep the landscape to best support them and responsible hunting practices. He had a generally good year this year, training an apprentice and probably looking forward to retirement next year. Scorpion Song knows the secrets of almost every craft ever honed by the cats of the desert, though their specialty is pot throwing. They are the Clowder's chief artisan and parent of both Primrose and Banyan. Scorpion Song can be difficult at times, but mostly they hold a great pride for both their craft and their Clowder. Pepperear once said they would have made a great archivist had they had an interest in it. They're often cold and detached, even to their kits, but their attention is highly sought, which is why it was so surprising to their Clowder mates when they took a shine to one of the new members of the Clowder this year. They seemed like a match made in hell, but somehow they work. Scorpion Song is also a fearsome teacher, one that demands only the best from their students, and usually gets it. Unfortunately, their last apprentice, Shiftpaw, was killed by a coyote before she could complete her training, leaving Scorpion Song as the only artisan at the beginning of the year. Primrose Dust began this year as Primrose Kit alongside her sister, Banyan. They are the kits of Scorpion Song and a barn cat, Octavia. He and Banyan keep up with Octavia when they can, but it's more of a cordial relationship than anything deep. Like his parent, Scorpion Song, Primrose Dust prefers to keep to herself and can come off as aloof. However, unlike Scorpion Song, Primrose Dust craves outside validation. When he was young, he and his sister were very close. As graduates, they're not as close, but they still stick up for each other when they can. Primrose Dust completed her training as a guard under Auburn Kick, whom she is quite close with, and was honored for his exemplar. Banyan Crest is Primrose Dust's littermate, and generally softer than her sibling. She's known for her cleverness and creativity, and looks like a total angel compared to Primrose Dust. However, they are more similar than they at first seem. They even teamed up once to prank Scorpion Song, Primrose distracting while Banyan threw dust over their meal. Banyan Crest has a proud streak in her like her parent, and doesn't like to be questioned. She's convinced that, given enough time, she could solve every problem that her Clowder faces perfectly. This creates a lot of pressure for her to perform up to her expectations, but so far she's risen to the challenge. She trained as a rabbit herd under Cactus Bloom, who encouraged and challenged her creative problem-solving skills, and she was honored for her dignity. At the beginning of the year, Ochre Glare was the youngest member of the Clowder. They were a quiet kit and are generally known to be determined, earnest, and hardworking. The pressure of expectation from their mother, Auburn Kick, kept them fueled through their apprenticeship, though recently they are realizing that they need to live life for themselves. Ochre Glare doesn't say it often, but through their life they've often been jealous of other cats' perceived freedom, whereas they felt a bit trapped. Identifying as non-binary and graduating helped them start breaking out of the mold they had created for themselves. Ochre Glare trained as an archivist under Prance, whose strange approach to life gave Ochre the new perspective that they needed. They were honored for their intelligence. Dawnglint knows that he is in way over his head, but there's nothing else to do but grit your teeth and keep moving forward, right? He got separated from his humans while they were camping and was unable to find them again, so when Laurel Star and Auburn Kick found him, he was ragged and hungry, much below his usual standards of living. Auburn Kick tried to get him to move along, but his determination spoke to Laurel Star, and she permitted him to join the Clowder. Dawnglint is messy, but well-meaning. He just always manages to put his paw in his mouth, or speak a little too truthfully about a Clowder mate. He trained as an archivist under Prance alongside Ochre, but it was mostly because the idea of hunting or fighting scared him. He was much more confident in his storytelling abilities. Amaretto is a former kitty pet whose humans dumped him out in the desert rather than taking him to a shelter. Even dying of thirst, he's very proud and stuck up, and pretended like he needed to make a decision when he was invited to join the Cowboys. Laurel Star liked his sassy attitude, so she once again overrode Auburn Kick's decision. In spite of his uppity demeanor, Amaretto's a great conversationalist, and most cats enjoy a conversation with him immensely, as he always has a dramatic reaction prepared. He even managed to win the heart of the icy Scorpion Song, and the Clowder is always waiting to see what will happen next with them. He trained with Scorpion Song as an artisan, having some knowledge of sewing and assembling leather bags from his time with his humans. Dino was a barn cat from much further on the range, but when her home was struck by lightning and burned to the ground, she received a strange dream. She followed it all the way to the Cowboys, and that dedication seems to just be the norm for her. She's good-natured but stubborn as a mule, never backing down from a challenge or a perceived slight. She seems to particularly have it out for Prance, who she sees as a kid with his head in the clouds, and often makes her frustration with him known, despite his somewhat prestigious position in the Cowboys. Dino trained as a rabbit herd when she cemented her decision to join the Clowder, liking its practicality and recognizing its importance to the group. Her confidence was very attractive to one Nightheart, and they quickly grew to like each other. While they were out looking for herbs together, Dino noticed a snake slithering up to Nightheart and jumped in, bundling into Thon's shoulder to knock them out of harm's way. That experience made Nightheart sure, and they asked Dino to be their mate later that noon. Near the end of the year, Laurel Star and Auburn Kick found a litter of kits near a dead loner. They were unharmed, but had nowhere to go, so Auburn Kick offered for them to join the Cowboys. Fig Kit, Fire Kit, and Happy Kit joined the Clowder and quickly made an impression with their big personalities. Fig Kit, despite his willowy build, was in awe of Auburn Kick's work as a guard, and proudly said that when he was old enough to be apprenticed, that was what he wanted to do. Happy Kit is extremely chatty and wanting to learn everything she can about how the Clowder operates with so many cats. Fire Kit's a bit of an odd duck, often just following his siblings around and staring at other cats as they work. Laurel Star and Auburn Kick are both interested to see how the kits mature as Clowder members. And last but not least, Shrub Flick is the Clowder's eldest member. Formerly a great guard and Auburn Kick's mentor, now he's enjoying a slow retirement and leaning into the grumpy old Tom aesthetic. He's still extremely independent and likes to talk younger cats' ears off if they let him. Banyan Crest in particular lets him talk as long as he wants, so she's his favorite of the quote-unquote whippersnappers, as he takes great joy in calling them. He was a guard before he retired, and still offers to take Auburn Kick's duty if he notices she's particularly tired. And that's all for year 1 of the Cowboy Clowder. This is just a fun little clangen file that I run when I'm away for work, but I really like a lot of their designs, and honestly, I'm already working on year 2. So if you enjoyed, check back here sometime soon for year 2. Thanks for watching.